Welcome back, guys. This is Legit Lee. I'm back again. Today is day 2 of my mousetrap. As you can see, I left it overnight standing up after I tapped the corners. What I did last night was I tapped the corners with that weld-on glue that I showed you, and I flipped, after I had it set, I flipped it horizontally and just put a bead and let it drip all the way down the inside line of here. So this is a fully welded box. It's all welded together. I mean, there's little pieces here and there you can see that came from the glue. It's not perfect, but it is good enough for what we're trying to do. Now I'm going to get another piece of the acrylic plexiglass to cut and put a back plate on here, and then I have to cut another size like that for the other side, but that's not going to be on the outside of here, it will be on the inside. So basically what I'm going to do is just like any other trap, this will basically have a door in here that's like all the way in here, and that could lift up and close down. And I already got my code written up for my Arduino and my ping sensor, so you guys seen that. And I may adjust the code a little bit here and there once I get everything kind of working, so I just need to adjust the distance, because I want to make sure that if anything ran in here, that the ping sensor will definitely pick up on it from, you know, whatever distance it is. I'll probably mount the ping sensor or ultrasonic sensor, whatever you want to call it, right here in the dead center, because what I want to do is have, like, whatever rodent runs through, it will, you know, all the way in the back will be where the cheese or whatever the hell is over there for the food, and it'll run through, and then by the time it gets into the middle, it'll be close enough to, like, about to get to the food and stuff that this will already close down, and within a few seconds it'll close down, and then it'll lock the mouse in here. And basically I'll be 3D printing me a latch for all this stuff. So like I'm gonna do like a little circular thing to mount a one of these springs that I have over here. I get most of my stuff from Harbor Freights because it's cheap. You know, I'm not rich and I'm not sponsored by anybody, so I get a lot of stuff that I can that's like super cheap. Anyway, you know, depending on what kind of spring I have, these are pretty tight. I may have to like link some easy ones together, because the servo is already going to have tension from the spring and I don't want to mess that up. So, you know, or I could just stretch one of these springs out pretty well and just link a bunch together if I have to. You know, like this one's actually pretty good. But anyway, the spring will be all the way into the back. So say this is, you know, has the back plate on here already. It will have a spring back here that will be already pulling the door, trying to pull the door closed. The tension from the spring will be trying to pull the door this way, so it will lock it down. So the servo will be holding that tension up here. The servo will probably be mounted like on the side or something to hold, or probably in the front, that'll hold the door open. And then once the ping sensor sees whatever run through it, the servo will activate and release the latch that it's holding on to the door, and the door will just start falling down instantly with the spring pulling on it. So that's what I'm gonna be setting up now. Just give me a sec while I cut out a piece of this, 2 pieces of acrylic, and I'll get back with you guys and show you how I'm welding it all together. I didn't want to show the whole welding box because, I mean, it's pretty simple. All it is just gluing it, but I'm going to show this one back part so you guys can see for sure and how it works. It doesn't take long for it to dry to work with, but it does take, I would say, leave it overnight to dry up for if you're actually trying to build like a speaker box with acrylic or anything like that. It's going to take some time for it to fully cure. But anyway, I'll cut the video right now, and then I'll come back and show you guys me after I cut out a piece of this acrylic, how I welded it to the back. I got it finished. As you can see, it looks really smooth. I was just eyeballing it. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I'm just trying to get in. There we go. Focus. I just eyeballed it, and it looks really smooth, to be honest with you. So, I think this will work just great. It doesn't have to be super perfect. I mean, as long as the mouse or whatever you're trying to catch doesn't get out. I'm gonna set this over here. Okay, and this is just an extra piece. I'll be using this for the door soon, so I'm just gonna set that to the side. And on my plexiglass, which if you bought brand new plexiglass, you'll have it too. There's a film on here you gotta peel off. I only peel around the edges because I don't want a whole bunch of like fingerprints and stuff. So what I'll do is just, you know, peel the edges off. Let me back this up a little bit so you guys can see all this. I was using these detergent bottles here to hold the plexiglass together when I was gluing it yesterday. A little too far. There we go. Anyway, bring the camera up so you guys can see a little better. Sorry, my place is a little bit of a mess right now with all the stuff I'm moving around. Anyway, you gotta peel around the edges. What I do. I don't take off the whole film so that way I don't have any fingerprints all over my plexiglass. I'm trying to keep it as clean as I possibly can. So just make sure you get all the way around the edges and just peel off about maybe an inch. So that's pretty much what I would do, is about an inch worth of this film off of here, off of each edge side. You can rip it if you want. You're gonna want it thrown it away anyways. Okay. You just want to make sure that it's out of your way. The top is going to be, the bottom part you peel off. You don't have to peel off the top yet, especially because we're going to be drilling through all this, and you don't want to crack your plexiglass either. So we would be putting this on, and it's looking really flush for the most part. I just have to kind of, because the plexiglass isn't completely, like centered right, like it's a little warped, so I have to, or warped, whatever you want to call it, and I gotta basically just push it together kind of. So what I'll be doing is using my weld on, tacking the corners first, and then I'll do a bead along the side here. So I'm going to get my weld on glue now, and then I'll show you, matter of fact, right now how I put it all in. So you'll get a container. I'll put a link in the description below of where I purchased this from off of eBay. It's acrylic glue. It comes with this feeder nozzle. It has a little needle that allow you to get into small crevices, and a little funnel that allow you to pour it into here. So you just have to unscrew the cap. I had this for a little while, so I use it a lot. And then I put 2 holes at the top, one to allow air to flow through, so when you're pouring, it gives you a steady stream instead of it getting caught by air and just like pushing out, then coming back in, pushing out. This allows it to feed all the way through. Okay, you don't need much because this stuff is, you're only using little drops. Screw this lid back on. Yeah, you're only using little drops, so you don't need much of the glue. That should be good enough. you just twist the bottle on there, make sure it's tight on there, because you don't want none of the glue to fall off the side. And then what we're going to do, how you start to glue with this is a trick to it. I'm going to put my cap to the side. The needle, you may not be able to see it on camera, but the needle has a little fine tip where the hole comes out. It's real fine. It's hard to see. Yeah, it may not show. There we go, something like that. Anyway, the needle has a little hole on there, and how you do it, you want to squeeze the bottle to release air, and then tilt it over and suck the air back in. That'll keep it from dripping out, and then you just push on the bottle to push out some of the the glue out of it. So it'll just kind of, little drops will come out unless you squeeze harder, you know, depending on how you squeeze on it. So I'll push, tilt, suck in, and then drip. And there it goes. And then you just let the air come back into it. You can set the bottle down somewhere. I'm going to try to get this to line up completely straight if I can. It's not going to be easy, but nothing ever is, right? Okay, so that right there looks to be pretty centered. It's not going to be perfect. I know it isn't. Okay. But as long as we're trying to get the corners in, just don't put too much to where you can't bend your plexiglass to the corner that you're trying to start gluing next. So I'm just going to hold it there for a little bit. And you could put anything on top of there. You don't actually have to sit here and hold it. So, like, you know, I'll put something that has some weight on it on top. It'll keep it down. Give it some time. The acrylic glue is pretty much acetone, but it has some different properties and mixtures with some other chemicals that helps it so it doesn't dry quick like acetone does. I may just pour some of my acetone that I use for my 3D prints inside of there and mix it together, so that way I'll still have some left. Because I probably got like half of that bottle left, and I do have a lot of acrylic, so. But yeah, you give it some time. I'm going to pause the video, and then I'll bring the video back in when I get the other corners started. Alright everybody, I'm back. Right now, I went ahead and got most of the side. I got the corners tapped in on the bottom here. I flipped it upside down and went on the inside and went along the inside cracks around the bottom here. Well, at least this side. I got one more side to do. I just want to double check this one, make sure it's all good. It doesn't look like this part isn't going to move, so that's done. That part needs to be done. This part's good. So I have this part and this part to do. And that will be it. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I'm going to go ahead and peel this back a little more here so it won't be in my way. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my nozzle here, squeeze like I told you, flip it, suck it in, and then just put a bead right along the bottom here. It's hard to do with this film in the way. I have to bear with it. Okay, did pretty good. Now I'm just going to sit this stuff on top, kind of help push it down, give that extra weight on it to, you know, push up against each other, so that way it'll be nice and welded together down there. And then after that, I just got to get the other side and then that whole back wall will be finished. So go ahead and cut the video out, let this finish up. I'm going to get that last piece, and then that'll be it. Then we'll go ahead and start on the rest of the stuff.